you said before recording this interview that you are right back from the streets. So what's the situation there? Could you please describe for us?
Yeah, the downtown Minsk looks like the continuation of the peaceful love, dignity, and freedom revolution. People are waving along the streets, dozens of thousands, not in one part of the city, but in different parts of the city. And the situation is like that in many Belarusian cities, both big and small. People feel as if they have won. I wouldn't be that fast to make this conclusion because the release of people who were detained in the previous 4 days doesn't mean that the authorities are ready to accept and to consider even the agenda that the people provided and required the authorities to fulfill, namely freeing all political prisoners, stopping brutality. Partially that is done, and hold free and fair elections.
When you say agenda of the people, who do you mean in the people? How organized are they?
Yeah, first of all, we're talking about Svetlana Tikhanovskaya, the lady who has won presidential elections based on numerous sources. Her popularity rating and her number of votes is around 60-70%, which is not confirmed, but definitely she beat Lukashenko in this presidential election campaign. We did not have free and fair elections, of course, but based on the ballot station vote count, which was free and fair, based on the protocol that we have, she won with a landslide, no doubt about it. Of course, when Lukashenko today, Central Election Commission declared over 80% of the support, and even some people who are close to the authorities argued that that was kind of the blow to Lukashenko himself. So we see the erosion of the homogeneity of the Belarusian authorities. We see many people in force structures, nomenclature, state enterprises, supporting the agenda of the opposition, which is quite clear, free and fair elections. And Svetlana Tikhanovskaya's only point in her agenda was to hold free and fair elections with all people out of prison.
What are the factors you think that could challenge the official results now? Who can challenge it? What could be the factor for that? They are announced.
Well, first of all, recount of the votes, one thing. Then comparing protocols from ballot stations, polling people, you name it. There are many things. For example, we had a video from different state enterprises like oil refinery, truck plant, tractor plant, fertilizer plant, chemical plants, and one of the persons asked, so who voted for Tikhanovskaya? All people raised their hands and stood up. Who voted for Lukashenko? Nobody. I understand that this is a legitimate reason, but that's why we demand free and fair election. This is not like we accept the defeat of Lukashenko right now without conditionality. We believe that there must be a smooth transition process. There must be a negotiation of a roundtable discussion how to hold it, not just to stick to the point that Lukashenko is with, that I won the election and I can just be merciful to the people. We don't need mercy. We need justice, we need rule of law, and we need free and fair elections. That's pretty simple.
You are talking about discussion, dialogue, I guess you mean, but how can it happen? And also, who is that who would be able to correct these results? How to say? I don't know. Yeah, to correct the situation. What you are describing
we don't
now.
know who can. We don't know who can impact Lukashenko directly. We know that China and Russia and Putin recognize elections. We understand that Russia has and can have a dangerous side game. We do not know what its details. But we are sure that our European partners, Georgia, Ukraine, definitely are interested in free and fair and independent country. That is why it's a matter of who can be this intermediary, this facilitator of the dialogue between Lukashenko and the civil society and Svetlana Tikhanovskaya's team. And there may be many people, including ex-presidential or presidential president of Georgia, Mikhail Saakashvili, who is a close friend based on his own judgment and the judgment of Alexander Lukashenko. So he can really help us out of this political crisis. We don't want any bloodshed. That is the case right now. We don't want any Russian intermediation, which can lead us to losing sovereignty. But we definitely need support of our European friends. President of Lithuania sent his proposal. I'm sure that Ukraine is also very much interested in that. And of course, Georgia. So we have friends worldwide, the friends that can talk to Lukashenko and tell him about possible and the best ways out of this crisis. But if he says no to anybody, if he rejects all the proposals from our friends, then he would face the Kremlin one-to-one. And this is the worst case scenario for us.
And is it the worst case scenario for him?
That would mean that he would definitely lose politically. He would be condemned by all Belarusians, and he would lose the historic chance to build free and fair and sovereign Belarus. Many times he claimed that he would rather die than sign up to Russia, that he would deliver independence to the Kremlin. Let's hope that he was sincere in this particular case. When he identified himself and Belarus and his power in one faction, that's one thing. But when right now he should face political competition, he may change his mind. I don't know.
So that's what I'm trying to understand. What could be the reason that would help him change his mind? What do you think? I mean, what's the situation in Belarus in terms of, you named Russia's asymmetric involvement in Belarus politics as one of the immediate threats just an hour ago in a Zoom meeting. Does Russia have a meaningful support in Belarusian society? What kind of support does it have? You just said that most of the people do not like what's going on now in Belarus and are against Lukashenko. What this perception is based on, your perception?
It's like overwhelmingly, when you have different opinion polls, you have talked to people, you have in-depth interviews, you just walk around, you have different internet voting, polling, you name it. And people have only one point on the agenda. Lukashenko must go. We are sick and tired of him. He is no longer our president. He stole our elections. And when like 5 years ago, that was not that overwhelming. But when he, through his election commission, through his network of fraud, gave himself over 80% of support, that was too much even for tolerant Belarusians. So that is based on the observation of so many political structures, civil society organizations, scholars worldwide. Even now, even people we know from nomenclature, they say, well, if he would have given himself like 53%, we would have had some doubts, but 80% is too much even for us. So right now, he really has made so many different mistakes. Bloodshed happened in Minsk, bloodshed happened in Gomel. We don't know still, many people are missing. So we are still waiting for the whole truth to be revealed. We demand responsibility of the people who made this tragic scenario happen. We definitely, I see that Minister of Interior, Deputy Minister of Interior, the Prime Minister, they're not adequate. They do not see this cruelty, atrocities, and torture that happened in Belarusian prison detention centers. So they must leave. They must go.
But who should tell them? Who do they care about? I mean, who does Lukashenko care about? You listed different societies, persons, friends, whoever, but does he care about them?
You are very, very right. We don't know who he cares about. He cares about his power. He cares about probably his family. And I don't know what authorities, what people of morality are for him. Maybe Mikhail Saakashvili, maybe
Why? Why should
Pope,
he care about
maybe
Saakashvili's views now?
Because in 2010, Saakashvili was supportive of him. He helped Lukashenko establish and conduct the dialogue with the European Union and America. That's why he many times publicly said a different. So he's got the history of relations between Saakashvili and Lukashenko is here.
Okay.
A few people in the world have it. So it's relevant. It doesn't matter what kind of situation, what kind of attitude you guys in Georgia have to Mikhail
I will tell you about the attitude also, but first I would like to ask you: Do you think that Lukashenko does not have enough power, enough strength now to suppress the processes that are going on in Belarus? Yes, this brutality of his actions, actions of the state bodies, are kind of eased during last 24 hours, but do you think he does not have enough power to keep it, to keep himself as a president?
He's a cunning, cynical politician. He understands what's going on. He can evaluate what's going on, and the reason to stop violence and brutality is not that he became kind-hearted or he was told the truth. The reason was very simple. He doesn't have enough power, authority to continue bloodshed, because for the first time in history of Belarus, political opposition, civil society opposition is supported by workers. Workers en masse joined the protest, and their agenda is not additional pieces of sausage or tax breaks or loans. Their demands are very simple: free and fair election, stop brutality. Because when workers were shown the way Belarusians, their neighbors, their sisters and brothers were treated by police, they say, how come our taxes go to support this fascist-like treatment? This is not for Belarus. That's why Lukashenko realized that he cannot now put this genie of mass anger protest back to the bottle, into the bottle. Yeah.
What would you say to the West? How quick should they be in their reactions, in their actions? You know, U.S. Secretary of State in an interview with the RFERL mentioned sanctions, particular type of sanctions. So what would be your message to the West today?
Belarus doesn't have oil, doesn't have gold, it doesn't have nuclear weapons. So the West, meaning European Union, United States, can afford being one force based on values. Value-based politics is a very rare animal nowadays. So in Belarusian case, Lukashenko made this kind of attempt to lure the West through the Minsk dialogue format, which failed miserably. It failed to deliver on OEC promises. So it must be very clear position to support the agenda of the civil society, of all the people here in Belarus and Svetlana Tikhanovskaya. Free all political prisoners, everybody, investigate brutality and cruelty and torture, conduct a meaningful dialogue, and hold free and fair election. That's it. Without it, do not recognize Lukashenko as a legitimate president after 9th of September. This is the deadline for the recognition, and then do everything to impose the most painful sanctions on the authors and stakeholders of the regime.